Hello, everyone, and welcome to Performance Anxiety's seventh online reading event, the Sarahs and Their Special Guests edition. We're very happy to have our bill of 10 readers joining us tonight, 3 of whom happen to be named Sarah. Performance Anxiety, in general, is an online reading series that we host via Skype on, usually, more on that later, the third Thursday of every month at 9 p.m. Eastern, 8 p.m. Central. My name is Tom Snarsky, and as one of the co-organizers of Performance Anxiety, I'm happy to be the MC of tonight's reading, which we hope will get our listeners into the poetic spirit of the holiday season. If you're a poet or a writer who'd be interested in sharing your work at a future event in the new year, you're more than welcome to get in touch with me on Twitter at Tom Snarsky, TomSnarsky, or via email at tomsnarsky@gmail.com. You can also get in touch with Kristen Garth, the other co-organizer of the series, and I'll let you know how when she shares her poems with us later this evening. At each of our events, we feature up to 10 different readers who each have up to 5 minutes to share a selection of their writing with us. We usually have folks who read live in the Skype call, but in the spirit of the name Performance Anxiety, sometimes readers choose to share their work with us via other means. And our last 3, maybe 4 readers for the evening will share their poems by way of some beautiful recordings they've shared with me to play back for you on the air. More on that later, though. To kick off our festival of Sarahs and other poets, I am delighted to introduce our first reader and first Sarah, Sarah Ettlinger. Sarah Ettlinger is an English professor living in Milwaukee with her family. In addition to the Pushcart and Best of the Net nominations, she's the author of 2 books, Never One for Promises and the forthcoming Little Human Things. Thanks, Sarah, for being with us tonight, and take it away as our first Sarah of the evening.
Thank you. All right, so the first poem I'm going to read is called If I Told You I Loved You, It Would Be the Wrong Thing to Say. You come in from slaughtering the chickens, your hands still spattered with blood drops, and your eyes have the quiet I've come to accept on days like today, where we're aware of the order of things, of the fact that the same hands that hold the chickens' necks, slowly swinging them above your head before carrying them, upside down, into the killing cone for the final cut, are the same hands that coax me to love, the same tender fingers I've come to expect, just as much as the sunrise in the morning, its blush on the day, rosy as your skin after a shower, before you slide into bed with me. You stand in the doorway now, a white towel in your hands. You smile at me with your quiet smile, the one I've come to expect, to want, as you take your place on the pillow and, arms akimbo behind your head, your eyes blink, close, sleep. The next one I'm going to read is called Something Like Light. Something like light. Your hands move through prayer like water in summer trees, sparkling tessellations winking in the sky. Today is the day I attend Mass, but say amen without a heart. The only church I've ever been to is one with broken birds and souls with light as blue and calm as day, lost love at first sight. There is something holy about a body beyond itself, a body shorn clean of voice and of light, as if by a lion's tongue. You take my picture just as I move into the shadows so you can bury it with the bones of your memory, the dirt full of holes to hide all the things we hope our eyes reveal. In springtime, the first thing I do is scour the ground for crocus fingers climbing sore and weary out of the earth. You ask me at the cusp of breathing, where will we go? Where will we go when the night hides away and the light is red as strawberries? In the slice of summer sun quivering under the knife's cut, a final rendering. The next one I'm going to read is called Full. Full. I can fill a cup of tea, watch it breathe as it settles. I can kiss a winter afternoon full of blue light. I can fill a cup with yes, with you, with one flawless winter hour. Outside, ice glazes window and water, so clear we believe we can see through it, full of fish, all the way to the bottom. All right, I think I have time for one more, and that's called All We Are, or Pansies. We are not only what we belong to, we are bigger than that, and yet so small, like fingers of honeysuckle tickling the vines that hug the house, and the fence and the birds as the scent seeps out to dissolve in the air, in lungs, in light. Our eyes and ears and fingers remind us, and our tears, how it all sounded when we hid under curtains of light, of love. And there were wings and flowers that held wind's colors, fragrant as youth and day and new. Maybe to live is to think always about breeze, the leaves in summer light in the rhythm of liquid stillness. Oh no. What happened? Where did do we have a leak? Where is it?
Oh no, I'm so sorry to hear about that, Sarah. That's a really tough, real-time poetic moment. Are you okay? Do you have to attend to that?
Oh no, it's okay. I do. I'm sorry. It was just I think the call stopped while I was reading, and then it was whatever. It's fine. I'm gonna finish the poem and then I'm gonna go. Okay.
Sounds good. I appreciate your perseverance. Our
No
listeners need.
problem.
Thank you.
Um, I'm sorry. This is ruining the recording. Anyway, maybe to live is to think always about breeze, the leaves in summer light, in their rhythm of liquid stillness, to bathe in green and freckles of purple and white, not to stop, to be, to love. This is not what it is to stop. I could never stop loving you, not with the way your eyes carry sapphires too holy for earth, not the way your body haunts dusk and the shape of every hour, not the way your hands carry tears as if they were marbles of dawn and morning light. Light conjures spider webs when it wants us to notice it wholly in the bend of trees. Maybe the best thing about light is that it bends. How could we ever stop without bending along the curve of it all, the curve of the earth at night? To stop is to not have a heart that loves you, and memories to keep you always in comfort, like pansies keep velvet as their bodies. This is what we are, all they are, and beauty.
Thank you so much, Sarah. We appreciate you sharing those poems with us, and I especially expect I'll be living with the phrase "something holy about a body beyond itself" for quite some time. So good
Oh,
luck.
thank you.
I hope that whatever's going on attends to itself quickly, and far from ruining the recording. You can't ruin a poetry recording. You can
Oh,
only
good.
put a new
I'm so
vein
glad.
in it.
No, it's
Yeah.
just we have a gas leak or we had a gas thing and I was like, "Oh, he'll be done. It'll be fine. I'll do this call for an hour and I'll go."
Oh,
And
geez.
but it's
Yeah. Good luck, and if you need to
come
take care
back.
of that,
Thank you. Thank you so
cheers.
much for this opportunity. I'm so excited.
Of course, yeah, thank you. And if you, as a listener, would like to find more of Sarah's work, you can find her on Twitter at DRSAEPHD. And her website is www.sarah.etlinger.com. Her book, again, Never One for Promises, is available from Amazon and from the Kelsey Books site. Our second reader, who I'm very delighted to introduce, is Sarah O'Brien, the second in our crew of Sarahs for the evening. Sarah O'Brien is the founder and editor-in-chief of Boston Accent Lit. She released her first full-length book of poems, Shapeshifter, in May 2019. And I'm happy to introduce her as a poet and as someone who's, been very kind in my publishing life too. So thank you so much, Sarah, for being with us tonight, and I look forward to hearing your poems.
Thank you, Tom. You're a wonderful person. Okay, so this one is called When Did Eating Cows Become a Symbol of Masculinity? I meet cows from a past life. They tell me I am one of them. A tired farmer announces the date of my slaughter. I have never been on a date. Naturally, I am nervous. We sit in a dark room and watch a documentary, and when the animal creates sounds, we feel no stain of guilt. I make you make noises, and we feel no shame. You are a newborn calf grazing. I tuck daisies behind your ears. Thank you. This one is called 4th of July. It's a very short one. Gingerly, yet with finesse, I place my heart between your teeth. you bite down. This one is also from Shapeshifter. It's called The Philosopher's Stone. The fire goddess wraps smoke around her figure like its claw. Slowly she strips to nothing. She dances bachata for her love. She dances the salsa for herself. He calls her sunflower and spaces out when thinking of mind control movements under the full light of a harvest season sky. Burning brain cells, she sells oil paintings of her breasts to the World Wide Web. The philosopher knows nothing of fear. She follows no man, no law of the land. Her ruler, the god who sleeps in a cage of ribs under her treasured chest. She lets an old friend tattoo X over skin covering her heart. Unbury me, she laughs loudly as he buries himself in her. That one has evolved a lot, so the version in Shapeshifter might be slightly different than that. This one is called Music Man, and I wrote it for a friend who was experiencing some suicidal thoughts while I was in my undergrad years. Music Man. We debate survival tactics amid electronic dance music. You feel accepted here, trading bead bracelets with strangers, sipping liquor from a pineapple. I feel thumping headache, a pending parking ticket, concern for your organs as you speak of sunrises spent pleasing men from dating apps. I'm in New York because last year, when no one joined you for the festival of drugs, you courted death. We sit on a grassy hill in the city as dancers fold limbs like prayers. We are waiting for the next noise, hoping night changes us. Thank you so much. Thank you. It's been an honor.
Likewise, Sarah, thank you so much. I'm going to do the thing where I stop the duck timer so the duck timer doesn't go off and add more gold veins to our recording. And that was Sarah O'Brien, who you can catch, I think, live at the Cantab sometimes. I think. Right. Right. So if you're in the Boston area, find yourself at the Cantab on a Wednesday. Or if you want to find her work online, you can find her on Twitter at fluent_saracasm, SARACASM, and at her website, www.sarahobrien.org. Also check out Boston Accent Lit because it's wonderful. Our third and tragically final Sarah, who I'm very privileged to introduce as a returning performance anxiety reader, is Sarah Matson. Sarah Matson's poems can be found in the journal Petra, Data Bleed, Ghost City Review, and elsewhere. Her chapbook, Electric Grandma, is available from Another New Calligraphy, one of my favorite presses ever for non-selfish reasons, and her chaplet for Women in Science is available from Damaged Goods Press. Sarah lives in Chicago with her rad husband and cats, and Sarah, take it away.
Hi there. Thanks so much. I'm Sarah Matson. Thanks, Tom and Kristen, for having me back. I'm really thrilled to be reading with all you amazing folks. And a special shout out to everyone named Sarah. Your parents have really great taste. My first poem tonight is forthcoming from Neutral Spaces as part of their birthday magazine. And this is a longer form poem for me anyway. And this was inspired by this season. It's called Winter. Pinched decor, black lacquer electric accordion slapped like a bass, and similarly useful, only when plugged in. Skull slingshot, cradle as final wish, eternal prank. How many people do I know who would drink my blood to save a life, clots and all? I am a fire sale, flying toaster, dumpster, squad car hurling out the passenger ejector seat. Printed safety card for microwaves. Pen scratch that will be sent into space. A modern starship. No, more modern. Post-mortem module modem modernity. Roving eyes scratch the back of the scapula with broken lipstick tubes, but expected, perfunctory. During this, the season of frigid Russian literature, 1980s operatics, color-changing mittens, warring stars, pinprick splits in the cheesecloth, dusty mountains of nutmeg, cardamom, orange, cinnamon, cloves, Jesus Christ, the cloves. But even now, nearer 40, I didn't expect it to be this sexy. Burgundy velvet choker endlessly rolling an insatiable tongue. Line up necessary gases. Push too hard with a $20 pen. Push into the paper. Steal back boring culture. The stink of desperation, the fantasy of advanced decay. From opaque-eyed birds, labored breathing, single crusty nostril. Sleeping breaths gliding under door of awake body, made still with different words, an incantation, but voiceless, behind stringed instruments made to look like a piano. I press my face to wallpaper the texture of fruit skin. Scenic scented yogurt slathered the ceiling, spoon dripping to frosted sill. Old milk in beard smell. Hands for scissors, I dream watch infinite snowflakes crash into plastic flowers and roll in spicy dirt. Extra long hair stuck to wet skin. Dirty fingers on the tongue, gagging. I can't get it off, can't touch a nightmare. Barren with childhood trauma and driven with pink Cadillac pride, I spit my name, an acronym, into the snow. My final poem tonight is part of a project that I'm working on about the Chernobyl disaster. And this one was inspired by a mural that is on the wall of the primary school in Pripyat, Ukraine. Changing history to fit the curve of my shin. Raspberry drop cloth peeling creamy knit down to the bone. Chewy blooms beneath filmy wing. A rainbow in 3 colors sprung from fish scales. Not even the sun smiles. Endless rows of blood corn sprouting under pressure and conformity. Soup stock wide hands, even unstretched skyward palms flourish. Braided protein tiara, blurred worldly edges like broken eyeglasses. We are strong, our antlers made of smoke, dreamy in a guitar riff sunset. Clinging to the waves of dying light, here, forever is worn, a delicate gown mutating like everything else. Thank you so much for having me back on Performance Anxiety. I'm Sarah Matson, and a happy, healthy, super rad 2020 to everyone. Thanks.
Awesome, Sarah. Thanks so much for having you. As always, we appreciate you being one of our returning readers. And if you want to listen to or read more of Sarah's work, again, you can find her chapbook, Electric Grandma, at Another New Calligraphy, a wonderful press. And Sarah is on Twitter herself at Skeletor Writes. So sadly, that concludes our Sarahs for the evening, but it does not conclude our readers for the evening, because I'm also happy to introduce our second Performance Anxiety returner of the evening, Amy Alexander. Amy Alexander lives and writes in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. She grew up in Colorado. Her book, The Legend of the Kettle Daughter, was published this year by the Hedgehog Poetry Press. She has another book forthcoming called The Parcel Child Song, a Symphony. Thanks so much, Amy, for being here, and I can't wait to hear your work.
Thanks, Tom. I'm super excited to be here, and what a great, diverse lineup you have. My first poem I'm going to read is from my forthcoming book, The Parcel Child Song, and it is called Prince in a Tinfoil Crown, and it's got a bit of an homage to Where the Wild Things Are, one of my favorite childhood books. Prince in a Tinfoil Crown. Forest girls are found by men who come in there to rescue them. Indoor, outdoor, flimsy paper walls. I feel a wild thing bedroom coming on. Malachite trees push up the roof, and I am looking for you, my prince in a tinfoil crown. If books tell the truth, I conjured you. And if you climb back in that boat, I'll eat you up. I'll love you so. And when you say you don't remember, I'll wonder if I needed to be more fierce or less ugly. Princess toes instead of duck feet. I'll realize I'm stuck as me. The men who come or leave can't change a thing. The second poem I'm going to read is called Dangerous Desert. Oh, I want to mention that Prince in a Tinfoil Crown is forthcoming in Pink Plastic House. So I'm looking forward to being in the house. Dangerous Desert. is about the 2 times I lived in Tucson. First time when I was a little baby, and the second time in my 20s. Dangerous Desert. In certain dangerous poems, I see it again. The years I lived in the desert, bookmarking my childhood. 0 to 4 and 22 to 25. Learning to talk and learning to write. Running from my mother into an arroyo, rapids where there was quiet dirt before, her screaming into the night, passenger seat of a red truck. I was forbidden to board, the wire between my legs tight and playing a single note I wanted to make into a song. Refusing to nap, carrier's artificial wind rushing over me in a diaper. Then naked, trying not to fall asleep, holding his hand, monsoon wind through the window on my skin, saying, never, never, never forget this. Frozen orange juice made after studying the cartoons on Saturday morning with my brother. The brother, my best excuse for acting out with a man just out of jail. My parents spent so much time worrying about him, they forgot me. And this time, I was going to make damn sure they remembered who I was. Christmas morning, he asked for a shoot because he didn't know the word for gun. Me at the pistol shop buying one for my boyfriend who couldn't, not with the blood on his hands. In certain dangerous poems, I want to visit the girl who lived that way. She keeps me company in my quiet house, so far away from the desert. And the final poem I'm going to read tonight is called Bigfoot Loves Me, and I wrote this for Christine Blasey Ford. I think it's fitting to read it today. And Bigfoot sometimes strikes me as being as rare as men who believe women when they talk about their assaults. He is not seen. He creeps around a tree, shoeless, matted fur, flees. He flees. Gather close, friends, you won't believe. I found a creature who believes me and all of you. How the man with leaf skin pushed us into his den, even though he is also a him. Bigfoot knows I speak true. I have to love him in glimpses, though. He must never own that identity, betray the ones who need fingerprints, photos, their women fresh like winter snow. Bigfoot goes deep into the woods, comes back looking like the rest, without respect, saying, how can we really know? Thank you all so much for your ears and your hearts. And I hope you have a great holiday.
Thank you. You too, Amy. That's an incredible tribute poem, and I've never heard anybody write about a gun and gun ownership with quite that level of care and interpersonality. So that was really, really awesome. And if you want to read more of Amy's poems, you can find Amy on Twitter at IRIEMOM, IRIEMOM. She's also an illustrator whose artwork has appeared on books from Animal Heart Press, Twisted Press, Fly on the Wall, and Dancing Girl Press. So thank you again so much, Amy. And without any further ado, I am very pleased to get to introduce the other co-organizer of Performance Anxiety, Kristen Garth. Kristen Garth is a Pushcart, Best of the Net, and Riesling-nominated sonnet stalker. Her sonnets have stalked journals like Glass, Yes, 521, Luna Luna, and more. She's the author of 14 books of poetry, including Pink Plastic House, Maverick Duck Press, Candy Cigarette Woman Child Noir from the Hedgehog Poetry Press, the forthcoming Flutter Southern Gothic Fever Dream from Twisted Press, The Meadow from Ape Publications, which I had the privilege of reviewing, and Shut Your Eyes Succubi from Maverick Duck. Kristen, thanks as always for being here, and take it away.
Okay, well, I'm totally going to be a rebel today and not just read poetry, and I'm going to read an annotation after this first sonnet, which is from Flutter, and it's called Let Him Know. Let him know. She will not ask you to explain. Even half women comprehend who is to blame for plots where girls remove their clothes. Reason you sit alone, exposed, in frigid shame, shuddering chest. She will approach you slow, with only one request. When he would kiss this poisoned neck, taste his death, let him know the cause was disrespect. Damsels dismissed of his own kind, immortal queen his lips maligned, let him know it could have been you, buried beneath soil and dew, with drips of poison upon naked skin, I knew were meant for him. Dead mermaids he forsakes, still ache. Let him know his final mistake. And here is the footnote. Having decided that Fiona is indeed a trap, the spectral mermaid queen Thora decides, due to the young girl's naked state, she is almost certainly a trap for a man. There's not many of those in these woods besides the servants of the terrible house of Dandridge, but the child wouldn't have come to the woods to entrap one of them. They live and work beside her in the house where the humans belong, and should stay if they valued their safety. This young girl, who looks so like another who fell out of a lemon tree, is obviously a trap for the one man or thing that looks almost like a man, the boyish bee demon. Having come to this conclusion, Thora decides not to intervene in this young girl's plan, waiting to be bait. When your enemies are fighting, whatever the outcome, you have one less. Whether the girl succeeds or not, one of two enemies of the spectral mermaid kingdom will be no more. Thora, approaching the trembling young girl close, not sure at all if she will be the one to survive. The odds are not in a mortal's favor. Still, in case she somehow might, Thora makes one request of the naked young woman. As Etienne lays dying, whisper to him of Thora's foreknowledge of his impending death. She wants Etienne to know she was aware of all of it. She could have destroyed this girl easily and saved him had he been worthy of saving. She wants him to know. She decided he was not. And my next poem is going to be in Autolus coming up, and it's an homage poem to a Stanley Kubrick movie and also a book. Denmark, after Trom Novelle by Arthur Schnitzler and Eyes Wide Shut by Stanley Kubrick. You wander into Denmark uninvited, enticed by naked sounds, my gated grounds, aphrodisiac someone recited inside a piano bar. Staccato sounds of penetration with a mask. If asked, one uttered word, Denmark, becomes a key to verboten, velvet-cloaked sodomy, backbent whores and antique tabletop orgies, a blinded man's prophecy, his proffer towards a rotten state, made masquerade, where even a doctor is considered pauper, trespasser in a billionaire's gangbang charade. I am secretly maintained, manicured. You can violate me with a word. And this next poem was just published in Ghost City Review, and I wrote it kind of as just a little rant a couple weeks ago. And anyway, it's called Woman Childish. For those who chose to fuck with me, I mean reproductively, most seem to want to make a baby face, contorted, pained between a pillowcase, your throbbing veins that break more than a woman childish heart. You found inside a bar, so old enough, at least the parts you squeeze into and wrap around to make appointed little sounds. For beast, your sweetest, sacrificed. Expect small prey to play as nice and passive as a face neither consented to nor designed, dazed, deprived of air, debased, maligned. Just brace yourselves for tantrums in this pretty head. You took something woman childish to bed. And my last poem is a Christmas poem, and it's called Gingerbread Girl. I'm your design, button licorice eyes, the dripping vanilla glacé outline you spread across aromatic thighs, the ratio, sweet to spice, you assign from years of tasting girls like me. Perfect my recipe from a patisserie of dozens difficult to digest. Cinnamon hearts, hemlines harder to see, until, at last, you nibble me, slow to know I'm one you could swallow. Tan limbs and too few bites will soon, beneath the glow of twinkling lights. Long legs you shaped, a whim, mar glass jar fantasies. Once in the world, you never will catch your gingerbread girl. Thank you.
Thank you, as always, Kristen, for sharing the sonnets and the annotations with us this evening. And again, if you would like to keep up with Kristen's many, many projects and many, many books, in particular, the one that you heard a little bit from was Flutter Southern Gothic Fever Dream, which is coming out very soon from Twisted Press. And if you want to keep track a little bit more carefully than just project by project, you can find Kristen on Twitter at Lola and Jolie, LOLA. ANDJOLIE, and on her website, Kristin, KRISTIN, Garth.com. And you can contact her about if any interest in reading for performance anxiety, since she's one of the co-organizers. Our next reader, who I'm also happy to reintroduce as a returning performance anxiety reader, someone who's not only been in our reading series, but also actually visited my classroom earlier this year, which is super wonderful, is Danielle Rose. Danielle Rose lives in Massachusetts. Her work can be found or is forthcoming in The Shallow Ends, Sundog Lit, Pigeonholes, Barron Magazine, and Glass Poetry. She blew us away last time. Danielle, take it away. I can't wait to hear these ones this month.
Thank you so much, Tom and Kristen, for having me back again. I have 3 pieces that I would love to share with you tonight. And the first is actually forthcoming in the Kissing Dynamite Play It Again. It is entitled, When Brian Wilson Threatens to Kill Himself If I Leave, because God only knows what I'd be without you. Fuck God. God knows shit. I'm sick of being slipped on like a puddle, tired of counting bottles like rosary beads, because this is not a process that befriends forgiveness. I want to silence every note that tastes better from a bottle. Remember how you can't even speak for yourself. And I am resplendent in my love like a way to apologize without all these noisy distractions. I think what it is like to be a song, to be your song about me. I just want to understand why it tastes better. And I'll just do it all again, surrender bottles and pill cases for promises to leave heavier. God knows how to love God and maybe how to apologize, but he never looks you in the eye. I'm climbing fucking fences, pulling you out of quicksand. These metaphors are so banal, my sweat pulses. Please just become a fucking tunnel and travel through. This is titled, When My Partner Cries. I remember that even redwoods can become afflicted with blight. And so this is a dreaming about taking an idea and wrapping it like a blanket. Because there are so many small metaphors to say that there is pain, but no one can draw a line between is and the space that surrounds it. Instead, I sound out the letters of their name like a language revealed in lost runes. Sitting in the closet because reading poems is easier when we pretend that everything is dark. It is easier than seeing an angel break into pieces like hurled dinner plates, just so many shards all shattering. And in this moment, like Godhead, we are deep tunnels under a raucous battlefield. I bathe in avoidance of sunlight in which 2 fields arise, and we inhabit them like swaying grains and a way to harvest ourselves by moonlight. And the last piece is entitled Ort Poetica. The way ice can become a verdant spring. Horace, you know the way we stare through lenses, how we bathe the sky in radio waves. Do you understand what it means to listen to a body suspended in nothing? Neither do I, so we listen. At first, we might pray with our arms tied to each other, but this is not a ruined church, not a way to use our own possessions to see. Horace, my friend, do you understand why the sky burns and yet we do not die? Neither do I. I just slide like a body of ice skipping. They are more numerous than prayer, these icy satellites, and I do not know if the radio waves return to us, only that we send them. Horace, I am afraid because they surround us, each a silent desire to come always closer. For what? To become the sky on fire? So what? We know the heavens spit out frozen chunks of stone that try to kill us. Sometimes they come close and we might pray for forgiveness. For what, Horace? For what? Because we're ants in a cosmic shooting gallery? No, that would be too easy. Horace, I mean the way ice can become a verdant spring. I mean this, that every body orbits something and we know it is not us. Remember that all of this is an accident. Minos and Troy and flying to the fucking moon. Human beings did those things. Something about bullheads, a city razed to the ground, the beginning of how to understand what it means when we say far away. But we're still surrounded by verdant icicles that keep trying to kill us. So Horace, what is there left to say? But pray the gods save us from starting over again. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Danielle. This is like a 6 for 6 or 7 for 7 streak of just poems that knock us flat. So thank you. And if you, as anyone probably would, want to read more of Danielle's work, you can find it on Twitter at Kitties and Stars, KITTIESNSTARS. And that Horace poem is especially close to my heart because Danielle and I are working on a small thing that sort of touches on Horace. So small surprise for the future. Our next reader, we went a little bit out of order, is Matilda Cullen, and we're going to share Matilda's poems in sort of an unorthodox way, but a little bit about Matilda first. Matilda Cullen is a trans woman, poet, and translator. Her works include Trace Happenings, which I'm holding in my left hand right now, and a translation of Ernst Toller's Poems of the Imprisoned. She runs Marlskarks, an anti-press dedicated to publishing queer poets of the left, and Prol Sound, a podcast and archive of contemporary leftist poetry. Matilda couldn't be with us here tonight, but I just got via Twitter DM permission to share a few poems from Trace Happenings with you now. I'm going to share my favorite 3-track stretch, and I'm also going to time myself because accountability is a thing. The first poem is titled Landscape in Absentia. The body is stitching another document of occupancy. Tender exit wound, traced another event strung into prose. Welcome to the world where we enjoy suffering, entropy. Tell me what's not carried, what's wrung from the day to feed the gathering detritus. We are brought to thresholds of longing and repetition. I am mouthed onto bodies in an effort to sketch a moment in motion. Gradual abrasion of intimacy. Soon a relapse of detail, then the slow scatter of self across the usual interior. The next poem of Matilda's I'm going to share is called Proceedings of the Show Trials Following the Climate Uprising, and this has a line that does some stuff with a line from Ilya Kaminsky's book, Deaf Republic, and so I'm reading it in celebration of the fact that I can't follow Ilya Kaminsky on my main account. Proceedings of the show trials following the climate uprising. The tongue of empire breaks the roof of my mouth as the father's oil reaches the newborn's forehead and drills as our mother splits open. Look, capital's hands around our throat choking the lungs of our earth, and the blotted stars have forgotten us. I think we have forgotten us. I adjust the dark to better apprehend this land, scrap the familiar pastoral, elegy exhausted, greed leaks from allegory, drips the people bleeding. This is not metaphor. To paint genocide pretty would be just as unforgivable. No one lived happily during the war. To do so would be just as unforgivable. Watch how they burn the trees, numb to the knots tightening round their necks. Oh, at the trial of gods, we will be merciless. The last poem of Matilda's I have the privilege of sharing with you this evening is titled After Emily, for I think maybe the obvious reason, but I don't know. After Emily. No drop of door against this winter, the crystalline option, only natural the forgetting, a movement across the casual in-betweens. Not through a hush of body, I, a cloak unfolded into other than this forest, cracked about, waddled into circumstance, overgrown metropolitan affect. No breath against a subtle skin, what history prescribed me, disordered into something resembling order digested, and slept through the day. What lurks listening to the babble on some other channel, corners of echo, articulated topography to the contrary, a space around what is not said, vowel that this body once occupied, unsound, bilabial plosive, diphthong of what loin. Those poems again were by Matilda Cullen, who you can find on Twitter at Matildork, Mathildork, or at marlskarks.page, so marlskarx.page. And you can support Marls Karks, a leftist publishing project, at patreon.com or patreon.com/marlskarks. So that is the conclusion of our live readers for the evening, but we are also in the privileged position of having a few recordings to share with you from some really great poets who, again, couldn't be here, but I'm excited to share their work, and they were really, really generous in sharing as much as they did with us. And the first poet who has a recording I can share with you this evening is Kyla Hubolt. So Kyla Hubolt writes from Gastonia, North Carolina, USA. She's widely published online, and her work is available in her Linktree, which you can find on her Twitter page. More on that later. She's Best of the Net and Pushcart nominee for 2019, and her chapbook, Dawn's Fool, is to be published this month by Iceflow Press. These poems are by Kyla Hubolt.
What only the earth remembers. A body sinks into a pool. The body is mine as I join the stone that sang in the night while I was alone, sang of the wish to melt in a fire or dissolve in a deep, slow sea. The heart of the stone is not what they think, not dead or cold, but full of a story so long and hard no voice can sound its tone. I give my bones to companion the stone as it carries its tail to the unkind water, whose will is too slow for relief or peace. I sit on the verge and watch for a sign of what I don't know. Light glints on the pool for one more day, water too slow and sun too far away. Dawn's Fool. In the dawn window above the night candle, I lift a curtain to see silhouettes slow shift to color and transparent utility. Soon day reveals its sacred flaws, but now sleep's fugitive magic gentles what remains shadowed. And there is the dove, who science knows as a most foolish bird, gilded now with a moment's blush of her ancient roles. Peace bringer, signal of God's mercy. I watch her trying once again to build a nest where a nest won't hold, the way she does each year, exactly as I do here. She will lay her eggs and some will hatch to become more foolish birds, bringing the message of hope deferred and peace yet to come. Getting around. Even a sulfur sky is sort of beautiful. Don't breathe the pink chem clouds at sunset. Some kind of reward for the day. And look, all round things on the ground, buttons, pennies, sometimes a dime stuck in the asphalt. Stick around, they seem to say. Wait for the day waves touch the sky. Be beautiful for that day. Stay round. Shine a little. Don't mind so much being walked on. The big round earth sloping down through the curve of years, coming and going, rolling along together. Earth's got your back. This whole time. What's that tune? Ah, the air knows. Singing it right now, all the way home. Thank you for listening. I only read 3 poems. These are 3 poems from my forthcoming microchap, Dawn's Fool. All of them are unpublished except for the last one, Getting Around, which was first published in the Mojave Heart Journal. My name is Kyla Hubolt, and I thank you very much for letting me read.
Yeah, that again was Kyla Hubolt, to whom I owe a million apologies for the duck timer in the middle of her beautiful work. And if you want to purchase Dawn's Fool, which is a beautiful, beautiful chapbook that you heard some of there, Iceflow Press is publishing it this month, and you can follow the kind of when the book graduates into the world, Kyla will share more of it, and her Twitter is @LuazPoet, LUAZ_poet. Kyla also has 2 other chapbook manuscripts being considered by various presses, and this past year she launched the Greenway Poet Project, which is her way of connecting with the local community by posting poetry on trees in the local walking park. She plans a Greenway chapbook for next year, and you can find out more about the Greenway Poet by following the hashtag Greenway Poet on Kyla's Twitter feed. Our next poet who shared a recording with us is Juliet Cook. Juliet Cook's poetry has appeared in a multitude of magazines. 2 of her recent poetry chapbooks are Dark Purple Intersections, Inside My Black Doll Head Irises, and another set of Ripped Out Bloody Pigtails. She has another new chapbook, The Rabbits with Red Eyes, that is forthcoming in 2020. And now, no duck timers involved. Here's Juliet Cook.
Hi, I'm Juliet Cook, and since Kristen Garth is the one who invited me to participate in this performance anxiety reading, I thought I'd read 2 poems that 2 of her literary projects are going to be publishing in the future. The first one is coming out next month in her pink plastic house, and it's called Keychains as Treats. I didn't know what they were made out of. I thought they were furry toys named after rabbits, not real cut-off rabbit feet. Our grandparents gave us rabbit feet as treats. Our grandparents ate slimy pig feet. I imagine them eating human feet that tried to escape from the pen in which they were planted. Every leg gets cross-stitched into position in this factory. You are told to sit still at the table you've been assigned and either eat what's right in front of you or be eaten after your own feet are cut off and hooked to a chain. Tiny appendages try to posture their way out of grandma's eggs, but get mercilessly flung into soup pans, surrounded by chicken wire. This is Juliet again. The second one is forthcoming in an anthology called These Poems Are Not What They Seem, based on Twin Peaks. And it's called I'll Eat You. In this diorama, the most likable agent of power turns bad. The good-bad hybrid appears to be urgently walking in circles, surrounded by long red curtains. This is a staged concert that never ends. He bangs his own head, cracks a mirror, and breaks space for more creatures to work their way inside your silently screaming brain. Dissociative identity disorder hides in the corner of your bedroom, hoping to break itself out of your face and rip the flesh off someone who doesn't believe your power. Listen, all you wanted was enough alcoholic ingredients for an unending supply of Bloody Marys while you watched the female lion bite deep into a larger creature's neck. The beef jerky screamed at you until you had to run out of the grocery store and end up at the bar. You tried to maintain your own space, but you were invaded. He called you a bull dyke lesbo who likes to eat cunt. And so you ripped his fucking throat into a bloodbath.
And on that pretty graphic note about Sarah Palmer, that was Juliet Cook sharing a recording of a couple of poems with us, and Kristen, of course, has a hand in publishing that. These Poems Are Not What They Seem anthology. So if you'd like to read any more of Juliet's work, you can follow her on Twitter at nonvanilla, Nonvanilla. And she also has the website Juliet, Juliet, cook.weebly.com with her, which will include some information about The Rabbits with Red Eyes, her forthcoming chapbook. Our last recording that I'm very happy to share with you is from Catherine Osborne. Catherine Osborne is a writer in Massachusetts. She's the founding editor of Little River, an online poetry and art magazine, as well as being the author of the books Fire Sign from 2015 and Descansos from 2018 from Sallow Press. This recording will play in a moment, and also I'll share at the end some information about how to acquire Catherine's book Fire Sign, which is a real gift. So here is Catherine Osborne.
Hi, thank you, Tom, for inviting me to read my poems. The first is a recent poem that was featured in Matthew Ogle's Poem a Day series. We were Whale, we were Snowy Road, pictured on a cursed 1920s postcard of a famous skyline. It was never made clear. It was never clear who did this to you. We arrived by fleet. You spun the great wheel of fortune. Nothing was said after we said something. A wild resemblance has offered us your name. For reasons unclear, we trained a wolf for you. Wind power fuels the ancient email. There will come a day, repeated the sea captain in a voice I missed someone else with. This poem is called God Particle. Mother of God, God Particle, you were here. You were just here, I know it. It was the dead weight of summer, wasn't it? Take a good, sweeping look at where you are before I tell you to close your eyes. Remember everything in order. I'm going to give you a name. In this story, you will be Cyrus. I want you to close your eyes. I want you to close your eyes and help me remember something. From here on out, I'm going to use a voice that was given to me by my mother. It's late. Let's begin. Snow hasn't arrived. Try again. Yes, you've got it. Before the snows. It's hard to believe in, but if you vibrate at the frequency of the part you want, you get the part. And this poem is from Fire Sign. It doesn't have the title. He was once so mad at me he stopped the car and ran out into the middle of traffic. He did a backflip over a fence. He landed perfectly, yelling into the weather. It was raining all the time that summer. No one has been that mad at me since. And for my last poem, it's called Mid-Swim Savannah. You make decisions on the internet. I am placing the world's most wanted diamond onto the tracks of a train. Put on your darkest coat. Time to go. Teach me again what you know about open waters. Tonight, a priest will declare that I'm a suspicious amount of coincidences. The priest will tell me it's time to strike a match against the boat. A memory arrives. He would say, stay still. I was 7. Feel the tactic of metal shears slow across my forehead. A red snow boot was carried out by the tide. I think that's why storms have doubled in size. Is it safe to undress here, fall asleep, drink the water? Your indifference is stunning, but not believable. I brought you a dozen blue eggs. Try to sing them back to life.
Awesome. That again was Catherine Osborne from her book Fire Sign and from Descansos. So you can find Catherine's work on Twitter at KDecember30, and Fire Sign is now available as a digital copy from the Electric Serial book, and Descansos is available through Sala Press. So if you want to find some poems that Catherine posts, or follow some of her writing projects, or get a copy of Fire Sign, you can do that on her Tumblr at kdecember30.tumblr.com. So very sadly, we have come to the end of our sorrowful roster of readers for tonight. Not sorrowful, but sorrowful. We would like to end by thanking all the amazing poets who shared their work with us tonight, and to every listener out there who's generously given this hour of their holiday season to poetry. We very much hope you'll join us for our next reading, which is actually going to be on the 4th Thursday in January, which is the 23rd at 9 p.m. Eastern, 8 p.m. Central.
My
the
fault.
third Thursday is, yeah, right, it's Christmas birthday
It's
Eve,
my
and we're all
birthday on the third week.
right, we're rooting for you to maintain your perfect performance anxiety attendance record. And if it's okay, I'm going to close this very special evening of performance anxiety with an excerpt from Bernadette Mayer's book. She wrote it all in one day on December 22nd, which is only a few days away, 1978. So Midwinter Day is a book-length poem. It was composed almost exactly 41 years ago, and I hope it kind of carries you into the sense of winter that makes the most sense for you. Winter, the nadir of some relation to the culminating sun, intensest of storms to come, sickening holidays, cold rooms, and running out of money again. Nothing to do but poetry, love letters, and babies. Hope for spring coming to please us because now we are parents, that love shoots mechanically from an automatic eye to the length of the line, the distance to its subject centered in a field of cheerful snow, past to the deep transparent trees, the sharp, sensible horizon of the celestial sphere from which we will not drop off. And now, I've a wistful desire to stay outside. It's not really cold. And roll with the babies in the snow till I get older. Maybe we could be outside almost all the time, like sex and lists of music to hear, to remember, to laugh at whatever's forgotten, doesn't have to be gone out again for. Staying in. And sex's memory's intensity. The year's least day lost in the house of love's safe locks, movements, chance, perfidy.